So we're coming to the end of the year. Graduates are graduating, so I thought it would be relevant to sort of chat about graduates and
Mm.
what to look forward to and what to look into doing. And again, we're probably saying the same things over and over again, but it is still so relevant. I met with a cyber graduate last week, and she was just struggling. She felt like she was hitting a brick wall. She was applying for all of these roles but getting no response back, and she was a little bit defeated. She was really struggling, and I think just her being able to chat to somebody who, I guess, not only I don't really I can empathize with them because I speak to people all the time, and I know that it is hard to get into the industry. So I think just having somebody to speak to and kind of give some pointers and tips and hints and do all of that just really helped her. So I gave her a lot of homework to do. And so, yeah, we're kind of working on a few different things. Resume, number one, LinkedIn profile, number two, and number three would be her Seek profile. So I think they're the main key points that graduates really need to look at perfecting before they go out to market, because recruiters and companies will be looking at all three of those profiles, making sure they're all the same, putting in your skill sets, all of that. So I guess today I thought we could run through some specifics that you need to have in your resume, LinkedIn profile, and Seek, but also what's the best way to network, utilizing that LinkedIn network, local networking events, all of that. So, yeah. So, the one thing that I find these graduates struggle with is they haven't necessarily worked in the industry. So, they don't necessarily have that industry hands-on experience. But through your degrees and diplomas, you do hands-on projects, and you are sort of open to what it is like having that hands-on experience. So the number one that I say to people is putting those projects in and using the STAR method to explain what you did, how you did it, what the outcomes were, and then go from there. I think having those relevant projects in there as well will show that you have had similar or relevant hands-on experience within the industry. So I think popping in all of those projects is definitely, the way to go.
Might add to that as well is if there's a specific role that they're interested in, go on to Seek and
Mm.
find that, the job that you're looking for and look at the position descriptions, because usually on Seek, what is on the advert is usually pretty much what's on the position description. So it gives you an idea of exactly what companies are looking for in a security engineer role. Now, you might not have the 3 years experience that they're looking for, but if you can see what the areas are that usually comes up in that type of role, it'll be good to mention that you might have done something like that in projects that you've had at uni. Or if there's gaps in terms of education, it might be good to fill those gaps as well. If there's a specific certificate that keeps coming up in the area that you're interested in, it might be worth spending the time and just doing that cert. It's really interesting, Tali. You spoke with a graduate, I spoke with a
Mm.
head of product, and we had
Mm.
exactly the same conversation.
Yeah.
Resume, LinkedIn profile, Seek profile. And yes, it's a different level, but the basics are exactly the same, no matter if you're just starting your career or if you're making that next step in your 20 plus year career already. It's the
Mm.
same. It's the same principles.
100%. And I think too, when you are sort of explaining that experience or those projects, I think too, adding statistics in there. So, something, for example, which I tell my cyber people who I'm speaking to, if you can add some stats in there, so reduce network vulnerabilities by 30%, like that sort of thing, it really does show that you've been in there, you've done it, and this is the actual result, not just say reduce network vulnerabilities. You can actually say, I reduced the network vulnerabilities by 30%, and then go on to talk about sort of how you did that. I think that shows the reader that you've done it, and here's the physical evidence that you've done it, if that makes sense.
It's like you know
So
what you're talking about. You've got a
exactly.
bit of the scars. It might not be deep scars yet, but at
Yeah.
least it shows that practical experience.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing I tell them about is adding all of those extra curriculum sort of activities that you're doing. If you're going to hackathons, if you're part of networking events, if you've recently sort of done a LinkedIn certificate, I know that there's a lot of LinkedIn learning that you can do, and some of them are pretty in depth as well. So I think just mentioning those shows that you're passionate, you're interested, and it just, I don't know, I guess it just gives your resume just something else. It shows that you're enthusiastic about it because you are willing to put in the extra work on that. Also with that, there recently has been
Internships or
internships, yes. And some of them have needed selection criterias as well. So I have been sort of working with them on how to structure a selection criteria, but also if you are going for a job and a junior role or a internship or anything like that, that doesn't necessarily need a selection criteria. I think it's still very relevant if you provide them with a cover letter, and then talk about what you explain the mandatory requirements that are in the job, explain how you have achieved that or how you have what you've done to do that. So I think that will put your application in front of the others as well. So we talk about the STAR method a lot, and it's situation, task, action, and result. And it basically gives you a little bit of a framework on how to structure a response. So you could say during a university project, I was tasked with securing a network. So that would be your situation. The task would be my role was to identify and mitigate potential security vulnerabilities. The action is you configured firewalls, set up intrusion detection systems, and conducted regular security audits. And then the result would be led to a 40% reduction in detected vulnerabilities by the end of the project. So that gives you an example of how to sort of structure a project situation, or even popping on that sort of one-pager suitability statement of how you have secured a network, if that's one of the mandatory requirements for the job. So it does let them know, hey, I've actually done this. This is how I've done it, and this is the result from it. So that does also give you a little bit of credibility as well.
Yeah, and if you look at it from the employer's side, if somebody just says, yes, I can do it, but don't give the evidence, and you come in and you actually say, I can do it, and here's the reason why, who do you think that they'll shortlist for interview?
Yeah.
So think about it to the person that's actually having to review your application. They want to know that you can do the job and how can you do the job. So that already, just that will make you stand out.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. So if you do need any extra information on that, I do have sort of a handy tips guide. So you can reach out to me with that. And it basically just states sort of what you need to include in a resume, which contact details would be number one. Name, your LinkedIn profile, and for certain roles, your GitHub. So I know some of the development roles they look at your GitHub. So make sure that's all up to scratch, ready to go. A
Yeah.
clear sort of, this one's take it or leave it, a clear objective. So career goals, how sort of this role will help you achieve them, and then also bring out your passion for the role. I do like to tell people that, especially with internships, because it does sort of give the reader a little bit of more information about why you're wanting this internship as well. So
Yeah.
that's, you can take that or leave that. And then the
Sorry,
next,
sorry to interrupt you, Taylor. It also
go ahead.
shows that you've done a bit of homework on
Yeah,
the company that you're going to do the internship or that you're applying for the internship. So again,
yeah,
it just shows that extra level of attention and time put into an application. It's not just, I have the standard application there and I'm just flicking it through to every application I'm putting in. It's
yeah.
actually a tailor-made. You've done the research. These are the reasons why. Again, it just stands out.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And then I'd probably list your education next on these ones. So any listed degrees or diplomas, any relevant coursework, certifications, that sort of things. Try to prioritize the subjects that are more relevant to the
Yes.
job as well. So pop them up the top or add any of those relevant courseworks that you've done. And then next, I would probably move into a skill set. So making sure that you're putting your technical skill sets that you've learned within that as well. Again, more relevant up the
Yes.
top that the job requires. And then after that, I would go into listing the projects that you've worked on using the STAR method. Again, more relevant up the top. If there's things that aren't necessarily relevant to the role, I would probably leave them out. You don't want your resume to be too big, but usually what I tell them is that the first page on your resume, if you don't have that working experience, needs to be purely like the job at hand,
Yeah.
your education, the projects, the skills list, why you want it, that sort of deal. And then the second page could lead into, will lead into sort of your current work experience, and try to word it in a way that there is transferable skills. So
Mm.
whether that would be people skills, like your soft skills, or if you do have sort of, if you can do those technical skills within the job that you're currently doing, definitely bring that up the top. But yeah, just try to relay it back, like teamwork, leadership, autonomous worker, like just those soft skills. Try to bring them out in the current work experience that you're
Yeah.
doing. And then, yeah, extracurriculum activities, any volunteering that's relevant, any networking events that you're part of, like your hackathons, all of those.
Yep. Those are all relevant. The fact that you were the chess champion in 2011, that's not necessarily relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So try and keep it relevant, because
Yeah.
when you're applying for a role, we're probably receiving an average of around 50 to 75 applications per role that we're putting up. These are not graduate roles. These are not intern positions. These are positions looking for specific skills with experience.
Yeah.
So how much more will those applications be for an opportunity for an internship? So you're competing with at least, I would say, 75, 80 other applicants. How do you
Easy.
make your resume stand out? It's not with colors and beautiful fonts. Yes, your resume needs to read easy, but it's with the experience. So the
Yeah.
person that's shortlisting applications is reading through all of those applications. And if you, like Taylor said, can't capture them within that first page,
Yeah.
it's going to be a no. They'll be moved
Yeah.
to the no pile.
Yeah.
So,
And try to take out that fluff and put
mm,
hard, cold facts in there as well. Also, if you are going for roles within larger organizations, some of them use AI to qualify candidates. So again, making sure you're using those keywords that are in the job description, all of that. Use those keywords if you've done it.
yes,
I recently had a situation with a candidate that basically copied and pasted the position description, put it through ChatGPT, and ChatGPT gave gave them a new resume. Of course, it hit my radar straight away. At first, I was like, oh my God, okay, cool. This person has done this, this, and this. But until I got to the stage where I was actually specifically reading the resume, it was word for word from the position description. And there was no way this person has done everything, because it was a very niche environment that they were going to be working in. And yeah, he did. He confessed and he said that he did use ChatGPT, and I won't represent him, or I'd be very hesitant to call him for future roles, because I don't actually know if it's the truth or not. So definitely don't do that. They will pick up on that, especially you may make it past the first round, but when you actually have to talk the talk, that they'll know straight away. Or if they aren't using AI to go through candidates, alarm bells should be ringing, because it sounds exactly like the position description. So
Correct.
that's just a handy hint.
Yes. I think ChatGPT is a tool. It's not
A
the
tool.
tool. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. So another thing with AI is try not to use too many tables or anything like that, because it can somehow get mixed up within that. Also, I did see a resume and there was self-rating on it with stars and everything. I would probably just leave that off as well. Just a basic good quality resume will get you further than one with a heap of fluff. So keep that in mind as
Yes.
well.
And I just wanted to add to that, with all of this, it sounds like a lot of work. It
Yeah.
is. It's
But it'll be worth it.
correct. It takes work to find your next role. You have to be willing to put in the time and the effort. And if you are, it will pay off.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah. Especially in a competitive market as well. You will just feel so good. I keep telling my the candidates that I'm working with, it's hard work, and it's always been hard work, and it's probably even harder now that there are so many more people looking for jobs. But just think, when you get that job, how good it would feel, because you've done it, you've made it, you've beaten the rest, all because you were able to put in that extra effort, and it will pay off.
It will pay off, absolutely. And from a client side, they see the benefit, because they're obviously looking for not just the technical skill set, because they know as a graduate you will not have all the skill set that they're looking for. And if you do, you might have the technical skills, but you don't have the experience working in an corporate or a working environment. So they're aware of that. So there's quite a bit of focus around personality and the way that you approach, specifically in the IT side, a problem. How do you approach this? When we have candidates going for interviews, I had a client years ago that would interview candidates and would specifically ask a question that he knows they will not know the answer to. And the reason for asking that question was to see, if you don't know the answer, and I know you don't know the answer, how do you problem solve? How do you work around that? Because that, in a day-to-day scenario at work, that happens. That you can't know everything. It's the way that you treat that. So the answer is not, I don't know. The answer is, I don't know, but this is what I will do to find out. And that shows initiative. It shows that you're thinking outside the box. And even if this is what I'll do to find out is not the exact route to follow, at least it shows that you're thinking a bit further. So for clients, that's what they're looking for. And the benefit for them is they can then take that attitude and aptitude and grow it and mold it into the space that they want this person to step into. And what an opportunity to work alongside guys that have been in the industry for a long time and learn from them. And that's the other thing. Go in with a, I'm here to learn attitude, and not, I'm here to tell you what they told me at uni. Because uni world and real world,
completely different.
two different worlds. Yeah. And that's us.
Yes, I hope that helps someone somehow. But yeah, as I said before, reach out to me, LinkedIn, email. We'll have contact details in the show notes. I can send off you my little handy tips as well. It's basic, but there's solid information in there that can help you. We also did do a podcast episode purely just on the FAQs of resumes that we've been getting as well. So if you go back, you can also listen to that. That's sort of a longer episode purely on resumes. We had some people ask us questions about it, so we answered that. That's more of a Q&A. But yeah, definitely reach out if you have any questions. Let us know. We're here to help as much as we can. Wishing all of the graduates all the luck in the world. The right job will be there for you, I promise, but you've just got to put in that work to get there.